Have you ever seen wall piercing in reality? A few heavily armed men come to a bank. They're going to use advanced principles to steal a safe through a wall without a sound. Set up a stand. A black cloth is placed on the wall. Turn on the device. Send a vibration wave through the wall. Then the black cloth is split into two pieces. Just at that moment, a piece of string shoots through the wall. And then looking at the instrument, it says 2 minutes and 20 seconds. Time is running out. The men hastily put on their masks, slowly moving closer to the wall. A tall man walks through the wall. Within a minute, all 3 men have made it through. After finding the target safe, applied capacitive glue around it. It took only 4 seconds. Immediately afterwards, the 3M thick safe cover fell down. 2 men holding the 99 kilograms iron box, hanging on to a rope, put on their masks and start to retreat. And that was it. It only took 50 seconds. The contents of the safe were easily stolen, but with only 5 seconds left on the clock, the rope hadn't been successfully removed. After much manipulation, the last 3 seconds it was successfully removed. But unfortunately, the man was halfway through the wall. The wall returned to its original form. The man was stuck inside. There was no way out. The boss had to take out his gun.
Help me! Please!
He shot him and finished him off. Then he packed his bags and left the scene in a hurry. The next day, the police arrived at the scene. The scene before them. The crowd was in awe. This is the weirdest image I've ever seen. A man trapped in the walls of a bank. When everyone thought it didn't make sense, Dr. Jack was uncharacteristically calm. He said to the police, the walls of solid matter were actually mostly empty, and gave them an experiment on the spot. After filling a glass jar with rice, and then he took out a lot of little toy figures. The small ones were placed around. The big ones were placed in the glass jars filled with rice. He said, it looked like the bottles were filled with rice, but after shaking, the toy figures can still be filled, and that's how the thieves use it, to make the walls of the vault a little looser. So with the high frequency of vibration, they were able to penetrate the walls. But there was one problem. Jack didn't understand. Using this theft technique could buy up to 12 banks. To spend so much money to steal an iron box, for what exactly? On the other hand, the thief with the cutter managed to open the box, but when he tried to see what was inside, the boss stops him. He told his little brother to leave, after slowly opening the case, with a smug look on his face. This was the 3rd case they had stolen. On this day, Susan and Mike were chatting, and accidentally told him the numbers of the 3 missing safes. Mike was stunned to hear it. Isn't that the number Jack always talks about? So he rushed home and woke Jack up. It turns out Jack has a memory deficit. Every day before he went to bed, he would recite a series of numbers, and this number was the number of the safe that had been stolen. Hearing this news, Jack suddenly thought of something.
Oh my God. The safety deposit boxes are mine.
A few thieves spend hundreds of millions of dollars using the most advanced wall-piercing technique ever. Steal 3 bank safes. What's even weirder is that the safe deposit boxes belonged to Dr. Jack. According to Jack's recollection, it wasn't cash that was inside. It was then deduced that the thieves' next target. So the police decided to move ahead to catch the thieves. But just as they arrived on the scene, they were still a little too late. A 4th safe had already been stolen. This kind of theft, the bank president was a little scared. And that's when Susan spotted the suspect vehicle outside. A time of crisis. One of the bad guys didn't make it to the car. Susan shot him to the ground. Back at the house, one of the bad guys questioned the boss. What was in it? More important than our lives. So the boss opened the safe. Inside the box was a machine part. The man said angrily, our brothers are dead and one is injured. For such a part? At this point, the boss called the mystery man. He said we got it all. It turns out that the numbers of these safes was written by a prisoner, and what they stole was a time machine that Jack used to make, because Mike almost died as a child. Jack went to a lot of trouble to find out that there was only one person who could cure the disease, but he died 40 years ago. To save his son, Jack invented a time machine to travel 40 years back in time to bring a doctor back to treat Mike. A new problem has arisen. These bad guys are trying to steal the time machine. What are they going to do? On the other side, the bad guys have gathered all the parts in a vacant lot. They begin to assemble it, and in the prison, the man quietly kills his lawyer, changing into his clothes, standing in the corner ready to leave the place. After the time circle is assembled, begin to locate the prison man, activate the time machine. What happens next? A miraculous scene occurs. The man and the prison were transported out of the time machine unharmed. It turned out that all they had done just to save the real boss in prison. Hypothetically speaking, if you had a time machine like this, what would you most like to do?